And then the other person was Cardi B. And I just told her afterwards, because she kept looking at my belly and I knew that she knew.
And Cardi's baby at the time, because she had just given birth to Wave.
Right.
So her baby was like 8 months old or something. I don't remember.
So she definitely knew. And she just kept looking at, and I was like, oh my God, she knows. And again, there's a code amongst, women amongst us. And knowing the game when it comes to pregnancy and having a child, we talked about it after the interview was done. And Cardi, like Kehlani, they have ties to, the industry. I'm sure they could have leaked this, that Colin Kaepernick's having a baby with his longtime wife. They didn't know. Nessa, they're having a child, this, but they never did. This is why I don't think people should share their pregnancy on social media. There is so much drama, unnecessary energy towards people nowadays. And I think, Katrina, to your point, you've always talked about people just want to be mad. People just want to have messy conversations all over social media. I think that is completely displayed in this situation. Basketball player Jalen Green and his lady, I'm assuming they're in a relationship. Obviously, they are expecting a baby together. People have been hypercritical of the relationship because Jalen Green is 22 years old and Draya is 39. And that's a 17-year difference. So also, Draya has two sons. Her eldest son is 21 years old and her youngest is 7 years old. So obviously, her eldest son is 1 year younger than who she is in a relationship with. So people have had a lot of different things to say about the situation. Why would she date somebody this young? Why are they doing this? So, it's one thing to have an opinion about it, like, oh, the age difference. That is a situation that's problematic in your opinion. Or maybe you're just like, hey, love is love. They're both above age and they found each other and they're expecting, a baby together. They're going to have a family together. So we all finally learned about the situation because initially there was footage of Draya at a basketball game. I think it was a Rockets game or whatever. And people assumed that she was pregnant then because of her outfit and she had overalls on or whatever. Again, I just never tuned in. I was just like, okay, people are going to do whatever they want to do. Fast forward to recently, she shared her maternity pictures where she talked about them having a baby. They're expecting a baby girl. She's really excited about this next chapter in her life. And the minute that happened, it felt like everybody had something negative to say during a very important time of a woman's life.
Right.
I get it. People don't like this idea of them having a 17-year difference.
Right.
It is a big difference.
Yeah.
Right? And I think also what people are looking at, yes, it may be a big age difference, but it's how old he is and how old she is. So would a 17-year difference matter if somebody was in their 40s?
Right.
And somebody's way older than them, right? What's the math in 17? Like, add it to 40. I'm not good with math.
57?
So 57. Would somebody feel this way? I don't think so. I think the idea is that they're both really, really mature.
Right.
They're over 30 years old. They're over 40 years old. So there's more of a maturity involved. I don't know one way or another. I've never really kept up with people's relationships in general. But what I did want to talk about was that it really sparked a lot of emotions on social media because they decided, Draya and Jalen decided to have a family together.
Right. And you know what, too, I think I noticed a lot with the negative comments were, what if the genders were switched?
Right.
So people are like, would you be okay with it if it was a 39-year-old man?
We see it happen all the time.
Right.
And nobody, well, I don't want to say nobody because that's completely generalizing, but I don't feel like the scrutiny is as heavy when the man is substantially older than the woman.
I think you're right, but there's scrutiny either way. People always have something to say, and I was watching this unfold, and I felt really bad for Draya because it's like, all right, however you feel about their age difference, they are two consenting adults, right?
Sure.
And she was trying to express her joy at a time. I know how I felt when I was very happily pregnant.
Right.
She wanted to express her joy and show off these pictures like, yo, I'm about to have another baby.
Right.
That's a really exciting time. And you're already, some part of you is kind of nervous about sharing the news, right?
Right, for
I don't know
sure.
about her, but for me, I was like, I wonder how it's going to be received, right?
Right.
I can imagine somebody famous, like, or a celebrity or people that have a lot of followers. You almost know there's going to be a little bit of backlash, but
Right.
I don't know if she expected this much backlash. And for this happy moment, I just felt bad for her.
So what exactly unfolded? Because you wanted to talk about this, her getting all this backlash.
Right. So it gets worse, actually. So Draya, there's been a lot of rumors that she's been around different people in whatever kind of relationship status that they've had. Consenting adults doing whatever consenting adults want to do, right?
As long as there's no harm and it's consensual. Right.
Big keyword here.
Right.
Consenting adults, right?
Right.
So the basketball player, Nick Young, former basketball player who played for the Lakers, also played for the Warriors, he was on Gilbert Arenas' podcast. Gilbert is also a former basketball player who actually played for the Warriors too. He played for the Wizards. And
You couldn't wait to say Warriors
I
because
love
you're
the
a
Warriors.
Warriors fan.
Anyway, so they were talking on Gilbert Arenas' podcast after the news came out.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick was like, Gilbert, you were with Draya though, right? Like you were with Draya. And Gilbert's kind of like not necessarily trying to go all the way in, but Nick is egging him on. And he's like, yeah, in the back seat, you guys are doing blah, blah, blah. Like I seen it. And there's two problems with this. Well, there's a lot of problems. But one of the first problems is, why are you guys talking about somebody who's publicly in a relationship as well?
Having a
child, right? Problem one.
Wow.
Problem two, he came from the industry you're in. So there's also this kind of like big bro OG mentality where you shouldn't be kind of banging on someone that's from the industry. You're supposed to be their big bro, right?
Oh, because Jalen Green's in the NBA. He's
right?
young. So people are saying that, okay, these two guys who used to play in NBA, they're older, that they should be more, I guess, nurturing to him and just more understanding of, you know, his situation. And honestly, they're having a baby together.
Right.
And really that should be the focus. And regardless of how you feel, two consenting adults.
Right.
You can have your opinion on whether or not you agree with this age difference, but she's pregnant, she's excited, she's posting her maternity shoot photos. I think some more joy and I guess positive well wishes would have gone further, in my opinion.
And there's two different codes they're breaking here. Well, probably multiple, but one is, you know, your athletic brotherhood NBA code. You know, they all are in these circles, right? We all hear about everyone in these circles partying, meeting a lot of the same people, having fun with a lot of the same people, right? So they're in this code where you just kind of don't kiss and tell, especially with somebody who's now in a relationship with someone else in the league, right? You hear about this code.
having a child.
Right. Then on top of that, you just don't kiss and tell. Like it's so messy. We're all adults, right? So I felt like it was very uncalled for, but I wasn't the only one that felt this way. Two basketball players, current basketball players that are playing now, Devin Booker, superstar, right?
Right.
Devin Booker, he tweets and he goes, y'all are supposed to be the OGs, SMH. And then Patrick Beverly, another player in the NBA, he plays for the Bucks. He goes, side note, y'all foul, not cool, not at all. Gil Arena show, y'all old as hell talking about another man's lady, not cool, gang. And it's basically, they were saying exactly what I was thinking. I don't know how many other people were thinking, but it's like, bro, this is so messy. Whatever views, click count you were trying to hit, Gilbert, like you're doing it at the expense of someone who's about to have a family. Imagine the kid when they're now old enough to consume media or any kind of stories about their parents. Like, bro, that's foul.
I think people forget that part is that everything that you say or post will live even past you.
Right.
And that's how people are going to remember you.
Right.
And maybe that doesn't matter to most people. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they want to be known as somebody who is very salacious and mean and just like, you know, constantly spewing negative energy. I don't know, maybe. And that's the thing, like our values, where we stand on things and how we move is so different than how other people move.
Right.
And trying to ask somebody to have respect or have some type of moral understanding of situations is really hard because most people don't have the same kind of values as other people.
Right. And again, I'm not trying to defend the age difference. I'm not trying to defend whatever, you know, relationships they may have had in the past. However you move, whatever you do. That's not my business. And that's the point. It's not my business.
Right.
So for you to speak out in a negative way, that's just,
I just think
so
it's
wrong.
different when there's a child
Yeah.
involved in general.
Right.
I just think you're going to do, and I think I want to say both Nick Young and Gilbert Arenas have children. They have families, right?
Right. And here's the thing. Nick Young got outed on social media before. I don't know if you remember the whole story when he was with Iggy Azalea.
Right.
In the hotel room, him and D'Angelo Russell.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were sharing a room, and D'Angelo, young dude in the league, probably doesn't know the code. He's recording Nick, and Nick's talking about, oh, yeah, I hit. Talking about some girl. And that went viral, and that's essentially what broke up Nick and Iggy Azalea.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So you were in mess.
Right. But maybe he doesn't care. I think that's what I'm trying to say to you is that we are peeling back. Okay, the fact we're coming from a women's perspective, right? We're also talking about our experience of being pregnant, how we went about it. Obviously, Katrina, you were more open about it on social media. I was not, for the simple fact that I already know the energy out there, because for years, I have felt that energy from people, different reasons why, right? For Colin and I. But more importantly, I was just more concerned about, the racists,
Right.
the negative people that actually hate Colin, that really wish harm on him. I know they would have wished harm on me and our child.
Absolutely.
So I did not share it at all with the public, barely. And honestly, if I didn't have the MTV VMAs shortly after having our baby, I probably would have never shared the fact that we have a child together.
Right.
And it's because I just don't want all that toxic, negative energy seeping onto us and impacting me and impacting our baby. No way. I'm going to do everything I can to protect our child.
Absolutely.
So I think actually Draya is probably stronger than me in that situation because I'm sure she's already heard people bashing her and Jalen, their relationship, even take him out of it. I'm sure she's heard over the years people bashing her being a reality, star in different shows or whatever. And, having public relationships with people. Listen, she's a celebrity, regardless of what you think. She's in the celebrity world. She is around that. That's who she's probably going to date. That's how this works, right? Proximity wise.
Absolutely.
So I think she probably knew she was going to get some negativity. I don't know if she expected it like this, but I'm just saying I think she was way stronger than me for knowing that she was going to get backlash and still decided to post it. I did not. I didn't even care to entertain that thought when I was having a child with Colin.
Well, it seems like Jalen, at least, doesn't care about the negative comments.
He should not care.
Well, because he was later spotted in a picture with a fan and he was shirtless, right?
Right.
And on his body, you see a tattoo of Draya's name. So he has Draya's name tattooed on him in cursive.
Right. But to be fair, he has a lot of tattoos.
Right. But
for you and I, it's a big deal because we don't have tattoos.
Right. I guess so. But all that to say, you're mindful of what's on your body. I would think if he didn't want it to be seen, he wouldn't have taken a shirtless picture.
Right.
Especially in this climate of what's going on in his life.
Or the fact that they have been spotted together at his game, right? The Rockets game I was talking about, right?
They weren't spotted together. She was spotted there and people started putting two and two together.
And he plays for the Rockets.
He plays for the Rockets.
Okay. So here's the thing. She was at the game. I think she was walking where the players walk through, right? The tunnel. So it's not like she's just randomly there. She's not an executive of the Rockets. She's clearly there because she's with somebody who's a part of the organization that seems to be very important. Because I don't know if they're going to let the assistant of whatever executive walk through the tunnel.
And I will say she did look pregnant there. And there's a lesson here. Do not out people before they're pregnant.
I think that is so wild when people do this.
Like, if she is wearing these overalls and hasn't said it, if you know her and you see her there, don't say anything to her. Because that's not, clearly she doesn't want you to know because she hasn't told you.
Right.
Like us, when, at least myself, when I was pregnant, that actually has happened to me. Yeah.
Do I know this?
I think you know it, but you already knew, so maybe you weren't aware of what happened because It was a stylist that we were working with for something, right?
Okay.
So I walk into the meeting and we know each other. So she looks at me with an eye and she goes, "Do you have something to tell me?" Mind you, she's a stylist, so she can tell, right?
Right. Ooh.
But I hadn't really told anybody. I wasn't hiding it.
Did I know at this time or no?
Of course you knew.
Well, I just don't remember at what point of your pregnancy.
It was enough that she noticed it on me.
Yeah.
So I was already, people knew.
But she's a stylist, so her eye is just different,
That's
right?
what I'm saying. Yeah. And I was lucky enough that this was during the pandemic. I didn't see anybody.
Right.
I was wearing hoodies because it was also like winter.
Right.
So by the time someone noticed, it was her and I hadn't said anything. And she was like, "Do you have something to tell me?" But I just imagine if I wasn't ready,
Right.
how awkward that would have been. Like,
I remember this happened to me. I was super pregnant. I was at Summer Jam. It was 2022.
your bump just started bumping. So not super pregnant.
Right.
It just started bumping.
Right. And so interesting enough, I had this jean jacket. Remember, we tried on so many different outfits so that I can keep baby bump hidden from the world because I want to protect our child.
And you're about to be on stage at Summer Jam.
Right. I mean, at MetLife Stadium, which seats 60,000 people. So you can imagine, I'm trying to think of every angle of how to figure this out. Go back and look at those photos. I have some posted on my Instagram, but in general, I'm sure you could find it from Summer Jam 2022. And you will totally be able to tell now,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Because when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, yeah,
yeah.
she definitely was
For
hiding.
sure.
So anyways, our friend Mia was there and, you know, she gives me a hug because we're all saying hi. We love Mia. And I didn't know that she realized, or my bump like hit her. You know what I mean? But she was so thoughtful and kind and never brought it up to me. And it's obvious because she respects the fact, well, if Nessa didn't tell me, then she obviously doesn't want anyone to know. And Mia is close to us.
Right.
So she knew if I didn't tell her, there's a reason why. And I really am appreciative for that because a lot of people don't understand when you're not ready to share your pregnancy with people, right? But Mia really understood, didn't bring it up, didn't make me feel uncomfortable at all. And then after it was announced publicly that Colin and I had a baby, she later then said, yeah, I knew that you were pregnant and all that stuff. And her auntie, God bless and rest her soul, also knew because we saw her during that time. And they were just so thoughtful of not making me feel uncomfortable by sharing something that I wasn't ready to just, you know, get into at that time.
Or asking you about it.
Right. Yes. And so all that to say, especially as you get older, maybe younger us wouldn't have understood this with somebody else, with our friends, right? Like maybe like if we were younger in our early 20s and you were pregnant and trying to hide it and I felt your baby bump rub up
Like, what
on
is
me.
that?
I'd be like, what's going on? Are
No,
you okay?
wait. Actually, though, Nessa, you also have an internship, right? You have your Nessa on Air scholarship. Your interns knew too. I don't know if you remember. We saw them.
Yeah.
And you were pregnant and you were still, you know, coming to work, still doing your internship. You're still, you know, handling business, right?
Right.
Your interns later made a video where like, mark this day, June 2022.
Right. I mean,
we all think Nessa's pregnant, but we didn't say anything because we don't want to tell her.
Right.
But if we're right, this is our video proof.
Also, like people don't
And
realize.
they're young. And they're young.
Well, yeah, younger people are way more evolved than when we were younger. Are you kidding me?
Right.
I would never compare young people now to us
man.
and our evolution at their age. We were nowhere near where they're at, okay? First off. But second off, I also think it's one of those things at our age now and just being wiser and just the world evolving, you don't bring up a woman's, you know, physique like that in general.
It's like asking their age.
Well,
Sorry.
and not even just age, but just like assuming that they're pregnant when they're not.
Right.
You don't know if they've been able to have a baby, if they want a child. There's like just a lot of things to unpack in that situation. So all that to say, I don't know how we went off on this tangent, but
all that to say, mind your business. Drink your water and mind your business.
That, and also when a child is on the way to this world, all the parents want are positive, good vibes.
Right.
And it's okay to give that.
Right.
I understand to go viral, get your clout up. It's easier to be negative. Totally get it. You sleep good at night. You're okay harming people that way. You don't have to.
You don't.
You just, people in general, you don't have to.
Even news outlets, you don't have to be the first to report it. Like, that's really rude when people report things before the family even gets a chance to know.
That's why, speaking of this, when the singer actress Halle Bailey, people were talking about her being pregnant for such a long time.
So long.
I refused to partake in that conversation. I didn't say anything because I understood firsthand what that felt like.
You did.
If she wasn't, what if she was going through something? You just don't know what people are going through. You know what's so interesting to me? People only care about mental health when tragedy happens. All of a sudden, everyone's like, oh my gosh, we can't do this anymore. We can't bash people. Like, we don't know what they're going through. Oh my gosh, they got bullied, this. But unless tragedy takes place, people are just going about their day bashing people like it's nothing, not realizing how it could impact their mental health. I'm just saying. I also know that people have opinions. I also know that people want to share it. So it is a fine line to figure out.
I will say though, Nessa, you were right. I always showed you these stories before we did the radio show, and you're like, nah, I'm not going to feed in to this rumor of her being pregnant because she didn't say anything.
Unless they say something,
right,
I'm not going to say something, right? And I've never shared this, but there were two people that I was interviewing at the time. I was super pregnant, but they were so good to me. They knew I was pregnant. They definitely knew. It was Cardi B and it was Kehlani.
Yeah.
So Kehlani, who we love, that is someone I just adore. I feel family with Kehlani. So after the interview, I was talking to her about, baby stuff. And it was so interesting. Kehlani was just like, oh, this is what I had, a doula, this. And she put me up on game. She was so happy that Colin and I were having a baby, but she kept that secret. And she did continue to check up on me after we saw each other, which, by the way, I never expect, especially from somebody who's not in my day-to-day life, who's so busy, who is a celebrity, who's just consumed with their own life. Also, she's a mom. Listen, big ups to all the moms out there. If you don't have time for me because you're a mom, I get it.
All good.
If you don't have a child and don't have time for me, I get
all
it.
Good.
Anyway, all that to say, Kehlani totally understood. However, she also encouraged me to be free in whatever I thought. She just didn't want me keeping the secret because of like others. She's just like, if this is what you want, that's different. But don't let anybody dictate how you're going to be carrying this child. So empowering, by the way. She made me really emotional.
Yeah, I remember.
I loved her. And I just thought like, wow, she's an amazing person. And then the other person was Cardi B. And I just told her afterwards, because she kept looking at my belly. And I knew that she knew.
And Cardi's baby at the time, because she had just given birth to Wave. So her baby was like 8 months old or something. I don't remember.
So she definitely knew. And she just kept looking at, and I was like, oh my gosh, she knows. And again, there's a code amongst, women, amongst us, and knowing the game when it comes to pregnancy and having a child. We talked about it after the interview was done. And Cardi, like Kehlani, they have ties to, the industry. I'm sure they could have leaked this, that Colin Kaepernick's having a baby with his longtime wife. They didn't know. Nessa, they're having a child, this, but they never did.
Right. And you interviewed Neil, and you were super pregnant too. And I knew he didn't say anything. He didn't even ask you, right?
No. And I know he knew.
It was so obvious.
Oh my goodness. And he was so sweet to me.
Didn't say one thing about it either. And then you guys took...
He also had his sunglasses on, if I remember correctly. So I think he was able to look and see whoo, she is pregnant. And trying to hide it right now from me and everybody else.
There is one person that actually asked you. Do you remember? You were interviewing French Montana, Nessa.
Oh, Frenchie. Yes,
I just remember he was about to ask you. So
do you like my nickname also?
Frenchie. All of a sudden he's Frenchie.
But yeah, and you know what? He did, but he did not ask me during the interview. He did not ask me live on the radio.
Right.
He whispered it to me after it was all done. And he was smiling, almost giggling like, hey.
Like a giddy.
Yeah. Because, listen, like I said, people are happy that Colin and I have a baby. We've been together for a long time. We've been through it, in general with the world at times. So I'm very clear people are rooting for us.
And these are people you've known throughout your career. You've been broadcasting for over 18 years, right? You're coming up 18, 19. Excuse me. Let me put respect on it. But you've been broadcasting for so long. French has known you for
a long time.
Long time ago. Kehlani's known you for more than 10 years.
Especially Kehlani.
Cardi we've known for a long time.
I remember that I was the reason why Kehlani and Cardi B connected. It was during my interview at Hot 97 because Kehlani was talking about how she was a fan of Cardi.
Mm-hmm.
And this is obviously before Cardi took it to another level of superstardom.
Yeah.
But we asked Cardi if she could come in early to surprise Kehlani, and they connected.
Before she dropped Bodak Yellow.
Right. Fast forward a little time, and
Cardi's album drops, Invasion of Privacy. Her and Kehlani are on it. That was you.
I just want to say, I don't like to take credit and do those
That
things.
was you.
But I just think it was really cool. I was able to bring them face to face. Anyways.
Wait. Another fun thing.
But wait, can I just finish the French thought?
Sorry.
French was so thoughtful and nice, but he was smiling and giggling. And I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, oh, because you just look really happy and you're glowing. Mind you, French is a dad too, right?
Yeah.
So I think just parents in general know what is happening. They could feel this aura. But again, he was very respectful about it. And so I know the only reason he felt comfortable to even say that is because I've known French for years.
Right.
And he whispered it and giggled. And when I said no, even though he knew I was,
He just smiled.
He just smiled.
I remember. I was watching. I was being
And then
nosy.
when I saw him later after the news broke, he gave me this look, and I was like, yeah, you were right.
Yeah. But then even, I don't know if you remember, you were interviewing Cardi B during the pandemic. So we weren't even in the same room as her.
Right.
And you were asking Cardi about her baby because she had just given birth.
Right, that's right.
And then Cardi's like, when are you guys going to have a baby? Talking about
right.
you and Colin. You weren't even pregnant yet.
No.
But she was like, just let them in. Open
Yeah.
up, let them in. So
Yeah.
she was already kind of manifesting you guys having a baby. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that she was one of the first people in the,
Scope
industry.
of the world that we are always in.
Right. When she was the one in a previous interview that was like egging
Get
you on.
pregnant.
Yes.
You need a baby cap. Yeah. So it was a cool moment. All that to say, in all of these instances, everyone was very mindful and respectful. Even if they knew, even if I was in the room, my belly was over the top of my pants, and it was very clear I was pregnant. Still, nobody wanted me to feel away.
You know what? All you have to do is match the person's energy. So if you can tell that they're not trying to tell you they're wearing baggy clothes, they're hiding it, clearly they're not trying to tell anybody.
Right.
So match their energy and respect it.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
All that to say, this conversation stemmed off the fact that I just feel like Draya and Jalen, as they go down this journey of being together and having a baby together, I hope the baby's happy, healthy, feeling so much love and joy. And that is the most important part about the pregnancy, in my opinion. It's just, I wish them all the best.
Yes. Unlike this guy here.
We don't want them to be the best.
No, this guy
Do we hate him?
Well, I don't know. I don't hate him. I might hate the person that he hated.
You're too sophisticated. The internet does not like nuance.
Okay,
This is why we're not going viral. We need to talk very rude.
I hate him.
Ignorant.
He's rude.
Okay. Go ahead. Better.
No, so, there's this story, right? This guy basically was suing his date for texting during the movies that they were at.
Because he's petty and cheap.
Yeah, but I just don't get it. So he's suing her for texting because apparently it's against the movie rules, but what's the problem?
Right. So this happened in Austin.
Yes.
They were going out on a date. They
Right.
were enjoying a movie, right? So he ended up filing a small claims in court for $17.31, which is the cost of a movie ticket.
Hold on. $17.31 for one movie ticket, and apparently it's a 3D
Yes.
ticket for Guardians of the Galaxy. Aren't movie tickets more expensive than that? That's a deal.
Okay, well, when was Guardians of the Galaxy?
I don't know, but it was already when movies were expensive.
Well, they're in Austin. They're in Texas. Clearly, everything's cheaper in Texas.
Yeah, but they probably pay more for property taxes. No, I don't have to
Yeah,
say.
you're right. What? Look at you. You're a tax expert now, Katrina.
I am.
I think they have the highest in the country.
Hey, look
Well,
at that.
look at us.
Look
We
at
are
us.
tax
we're
experts.
adults. We're adults. We're adults. Anyway, I think this is really petty. Like $17.31, you're mad at her, so you want to take her to small claims court for $17.31 because she was texting during the movie. What if there was an emergency and she had to text? What if she had a big business deal?
You would think an emergency happened because she ended up leaving the movie. So what happened was 15 minutes into the movie, she began texting. She would step outside, go on her phone, come back in, step outside. And it would just kind of go like that. Then after one time that she stepped outside of the movie theater, she just never returned. And she left him at the movie theater. He was really upset about this because they rode together in her car. So he had no way home. Get an Uber or a Lyft or whatever. Anyways, he was so upset about this that he filed a petition.
She dodged the bullet. He is a crybaby. I already know this kind of guy just based on this story.
Ugh.
That's a crybaby.
You wouldn't date him?
What?
If he was willing to take care of you and let you fly in a private jet all the time, pay your bills, pay your student debt off?
My student debt?
Yeah.
If we broke up, would he demand me give him all the money back? Because
It's a 50-50 situation.
No, I wouldn't date him. I'd be so mad that he's such a crybaby because it would be something like me saying, sometimes I talk abrasively.
Sometimes?
Just every now and then.
Okay, go on.
He would probably 100% catch feelings every time I said something that wasn't with, oh, baby, can you do this?
Right. And he would have sued you every single time. So let me ask you, why do you think we are so disappointed in him? I mean, what if he does have feelings? What if she is being disrespectful? I mean, it is rude.
Bro,
Let's be honest. Shh, hold on. Don't cut me off.
I'm so mad at this guy.
Well, here's the thing. Can you acknowledge that she was being rude?
Yes, being on the phone at the movies is rude.
Stepping in and out of the movie theater nonstop.
It's rude.
It's rude. Okay, so we agree to that story.
Yes.
So he wanted to take it a step further to teach her a lesson. And so he filed this petition, small claims, because he wanted the money back from the money that he probably spent at the movies.
I have a question. Would you prove a point and not pay him because he's being a dummy?
Absolutely.
Or would you just pay him the $17.31 and be like, bro, get over it and give it to him?
It depends on it depends on his energy.
In this situation, his energy is clear. He took you to small claims court.
I'm going to pay it.
Just
because I just don't want to deal with it. It's like when people have lawsuits that are just so not true,
Right.
didn't happen, but just to cut the noise out, you
Right.
just kind of pay them. Sometimes just you want somebody to shut up. And I just think that's the case with a lot of situations like this, whether it's a big lawsuit or if it's a small claims thing, if it's a petition. Sometimes just paying it is just easier to deal with.
Yeah, listen, it's $17.31. If you
Sure.
try to get a lawyer involved, it's going to cost more. The time you expend trying to fight this is going to cost more. Where is the pay link? Just send me the pay link and I'm going to pay you $17.31 on the dot.
Is it Zelle? Is it Venmo?
Is there a 3% credit card charge? I'll pay it.
Is it a Cash App? Let's just get over with this.
Right.
Okay, so more dating disasters.
Oh, no.
And if you care to read more about this story, we got it from an article. It was on Time. So
Yes.
make sure you go check it out. So this next dating disaster I thought was really interesting, okay? So this woman matched with this guy, right? She is thinking they are vibing together, that he is the one because they've been chatting for a while before they went out on their first date, right? So she is feeling the momentum in this situation. So they go out on this nice date. She picks a nice, pricey seafood restaurant, acknowledging the fact that cost was not going to be an issue. So I think this was obviously discussed before she picked the restaurant to go and have this nice date.
Yeah.
So they go to the date. They have a great time. She's thinking it's all on the up and up.
Right.
Fast forward a little bit later, I think a few weeks later, right?
Right.
He hits her up and says that he needs to borrow $376 so that he can turn his lights on.
What does that have to do with her?
Well, it's because he said he paid for the expensive dinner at the seafood restaurant. So obviously, she had no problem that he paid for that at that time. So he needs the money at this moment of time so that he could turn his lights on.
Nessa, this is ridiculous. It's almost as bad as charging $17.31 to get your money back from the movie ticket.
Well, long story short, she did not have compassion like you and I, right? She doesn't care about the noise. She thought it was funny initially until she realized, oh, he's serious. He wants this money back. She ended up blocking him and obviously sharing this story with the public.
Yeah. Well, if it was $376, I wouldn't pay him either. It's like, bro, we're on a date. You said it was all good. We got seafood. It's your problem.
What if he's the one and needed some help? You're not going to help him?
He wouldn't be the one acting like this, Nessa. I couldn't.
Well, I guess intentions matter because I think a similar story like this happened with Gayle King, right? She was talking about how she went out on a date with this guy and then later on he asked, I think, for $17,000. Look that up. Look that up.
Well, Gayle, listen.
Look that up.
Nessa, I'm going to look that up. But Gayle King got a net worth that can probably...
Let me look up Gayle King's net worth.
Okay, you look
Gayle
that up.
King
I'll look up the
net worth.
date.
Ooh.
Okay, hold
Oh,
on.
she's got a big net worth. She's got $40 million. Or a net worth of $40 million.
Okay. All right, Nessa. So actually, it was $4,000.
Ooh, how did I get $17,000?
You know what? Everything just gets embellished after you tell.
With inflation, it's probably 17.
Yeah.
Okay, so she went out on a date with this guy.
Yes.
A little bit later, he asked her for $4,000.
Yes. And he was like, I'm going to pay you back. I just really need the money right now. Child support. I got to buy some furniture. A bunch of different things. You know what she did?
What?
She gave him the money.
Because she's a good person, doesn't want to see somebody struggling.
Well, you know what? He did pay it back within a week.
Which is great.
So they're a match made in heaven then.
No, but I think she didn't want to deal with him anymore because that would have been probably a reoccurring situation.
Oh, yeah.
However, she did give him the money. And I'm actually surprised that he paid her back.
Right.
Because a lot of times there's a saying that, you know, if you're going to give somebody some money, when they say, hey, I need to borrow some money or whatever, you're never going to get it back.
Nessa, do I owe you money?
Yes. And I know I'll never get it back.
Hey, that's okay though.
It's true, right? But I chalk it up to the game. All that to say, I think what Gayle King did was right because I think she did like him. Listen to my reasoning. And when you're hearing family this, and you're handling real life matters, and he did say he was going to pay her back, I would have probably done that in my younger days because I was probably more naive. And luckily, he did pay her back.
She probably could tell from his character that he was going to pay her
Exactly.
back. Now, is that character mean that's something she would want to date? Probably not. But she could probably tell. I just think,
Would you
wow.
have done this if Tone in the early stages asked you for money? And would you have given him the money and would you have continued dating him?
Nessa, I don't have $4,000 to spare. I haven't had it in my whole entire life.
Okay, $400, $40, whatever it is, Tone, someone you're liking, to early on in the relationship and he asks to borrow money. What are you going to do in that situation?
I'd probably let him borrow it. But you know what's crazy? That
Do you look down on him?
depends on what he needs it for. And if I knew he was just in a bind at that moment. Because I know Tone. I knew him before we started dating. So if he was just like, yo, this and that happened to my house. You know, emergency stuff happens to your house. All of a
Right.
sudden your roof leaks and you have to pay $10,000.
Right.
Right? So if he was like, yeah, can I just get this 40 real quick? I'd probably give it to him, but
Exactly. We're nice people.
I might judge him.
Everyone online is acting like real tough.
yeah.
And that's okay.
Oh, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do
not,
that.
I'm not tough at all.
Right.
I'm really nice to a fault.
Yes.
Right. And so I would have probably gave the money. I've probably done stupid things like that before. When I think about it, I just have mom brain. And I think mom brain clicks in at a beautiful time. It doesn't want you to remember any of your past mistakes,
Right.
really. I just think I would have done it. Now, would it have turned me off? A gazillion %.
Right.
But I would have kept trying to see if it worked.
No, that makes sense.
I'm stupid.
Vanessa, talking about all this money and borrowing money and going on dates, it reminds me, you and I, we just went out to eat this week, right?
Right. And you used and abused me.
I did not use and abuse you. First of all, we went to this fancy spot. Nessa and I decided to go to a fancy spot. Usually Nessa's a creature of habit. She'll always get
That's right.
Korean barbecue, the same exact spot. We order the same exact dishes every time.
Why are you complaining about that?
Am I complaining? I'm just basically stating facts,
Okay.
Nessa.
It is true. But are you upset about it?
I'm not. Am
Okay.
I upset?
I'm really hungry right now. I was about to ask you, can I at least order food for here?
Okay, hold on. Let me finish the story. So, always gets Korean barbecue. This week, I was like, Nessa, let's try something different. And Nessa is down. And Nessa's normally, she's like, she knows what she wants, but she was down. I was like, yo, there's this great Korean restaurant. It's like a 5-star restaurant. They got a Michelin star. We're like, let's head to it. We head over. Oh my gosh, it is so bougie.
It was delicious.
But it was so good. But first of all, we get there, it's bougie. I'm wearing my backpack. I go
And we
to the
couldn't
front.
even really get in, but Katrina weaseled her way in.
I get to the hostess and I'm like, hey, do you guys have any table for two? And he was like, looked at me and I knew he was looking at my backpack. But everyone there's dressed up. Like, this is like the Sex in the City after work crowd at a New York City restaurant. Like,
Right.
it's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
And I'm wearing
love it.
sweats with a backpack. And Nessa's holding a garbage bag. Like, but it's a vibe, right? So anyway, we get there and they're like, yeah, we have this table, but the burner doesn't work. Because this is a elevated Korean barbecue spot, right?
Right.
The burner doesn't work, so they're not going to cook it in front of you. I was like, but they're still going to cook it? He's like, yeah, we'll just cook it in the kitchen, bring it to you. He's like, okay. And I was like, okay, we'll sit. We sit down. and we order food. And this is a Korean steakhouse. The food was amazing. So first thing comes out is this oysters with
Delicious.
caviar. Now,
Changed my life.
we don't eat caviar.
Woo! I get it.
So-
I get the bougie movies and the restaurants
Right.
and the pinky up and the, eating the caviar. I get it now.
And here's the thing, by the way, talking about rude, Nessa was on her phone for the first 30 minutes we were there on a meeting in this bougie ass spot. All these people are having drinks and talking, and Nessa's on a goddamn meeting on FaceTime, and the server's coming, and I'm sitting there like, oh, sorry. He's trying to talk to her because you can't tell she has her AirPods in. I was like, oh, sorry, she's on a meeting. He's like, it's okay, I'm used to it. But I know he was like, what a bitch.
Absolutely. And I apologized to
Yeah.
him,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we did.
But
I
I
don't want
had to take this call.
spit in my
it was
food.
really important. I usually don't. Are you kidding me? It's food. Food, I prioritize it over everything except calling in the baby.
Anyway, so the oysters come out, right? And we got 5 of them. Bomb. Like Nessa eats it while she's on the meeting and her eyes immediately open wide.
I've never, just reliving it right now, it was so delicious. It was decadent. It was
Wow.
stupendous.
Stupendous. Fantastic.
Fantastic. Just glorious.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I
so
felt
anyway-
like this is probably heaven in this moment.
wow, Nessa. Anyway, she scarfed like 3 of them before I even got to eat one. And mind you, she's on the meeting the whole time. So she's eating these oysters, and the server comes back, and I was like, should we get some more? Right?
Right. And I don't know what's going on. I haven't even glanced at the
We
menu.
haven't even glanced at the menu. And usually when Nessa and I go out to eat, I'll pick stuff that I know that she will like. So,
Right. So I trust Katrina can handle one task.
And yes, I did handle this task very well. So anyway, we ordered 5, and I was like, you want more? And Nessa, she's on the phone. So she just nods. She goes, yes. And I was like, should we get 5? Because it was an order of 5, or should we get more? And then the guy, he was like, oh, well, you're paying per. I was like, how many do you want to get? And then she puts up 10 fingers.
I'm not hearing what's
So-
going on. I'm thinking it's a deal at
Bro,
a
we
restaurant.
get-
Like, oh, you get 5, 7, 12 or
Yeah,
whatever.
like you have to order a round of them. No, bro,
and I'm not
we
ordering
ordered
caviar.
10 more oysters with caviar. So keep this in mind. Now we have ordered 15 oysters with caviar, okay?
Get the calculator
Keep this
out.
in mind. Next, I was like, all right, well, it's our first time here. They have this whole flight of steaks that we can order, right?
Right.
I was like, and let's add the Japanese Wagyu too, right? Because I'm thinking, okay, I saw the price on that. That was like $76. The Wagyu's another 30. Nessa and I are out to eat. Bougie spot. I was like, all right. And this whole time I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to cover this one. All right. I can handle, what is that at this point? 76 plus 30. I can handle about 100 plus each, 200 something. And Nessa and I, we don't really drink. I wasn't in an alcohol mood. Nessa doesn't drink. So we didn't drink anything. We're just drinking water. So I was like, yo, all right, cool. We got this. I'm excited. The food comes out. Oh my, it's like butter, a meat butter.
Absolutely. I'm so hungry right now. Wrap this up.
Japanese Wagyu is my new stuff.
It is.
Anyway, bill comes out, right?
And Katrina,
I'm kindly grabbing it, and Nessa looks at me. She's like, no, Katrina, I got this. She was like, we ordered. I was like, bro, we ordered oysters. We
Yeah.
ordered a few oysters and some meat, like $200 worth of steak. I was like, I got this. I open it up. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, your eye, I think I honestly was worried that you almost had a heart attack.
I was like, no, you're right, Nessa. You got this.
Yeah. And she gave me that bill.
And I gave you that bill. And what's funny is Nessa had just told me she had overdrawn a few times earlier that day. So I felt really bad.
So I put it on my credit card because I did not want to risk this moment at all.
Mind you, we went back 2 days later.
We sure did.
Went downstairs, grabbed meat, and I was like, I'm going to pay for it this time. We only ordered 5 oysters
Yeah, no,
this
we
time.
were very clear. We were intentional. 5 oysters max.
This kind of meat. I went there, I grabbed the bill, and I looked at it. I was like, damn, this is still more than
And by the way, because we didn't want to keep ordering stuff, we were eating the complimentary lettuce with the Korean delicious paste.
Korean
So-
does banchan where they give you a bunch of sides.
Right. So we literally, because we weren't getting all of it, because downstairs you don't get the full menu and all the
Yeah.
stuff that comes with it, the sides. So we were getting the lettuce and the paste. That was complimentary with the food. So we just kept asking for that because, well, we weren't going to add more food because
seen
we
Nessa
learned our lesson.
Was downing the paste. It was bomb though. It was really good.
It's so good.
All that to say, Nessa, when we do eat, I think we've met the quota, the budget for the next 3 months on how much we spent there.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. Let's go tonight.
We should. Who's going to pay for it?
Your credit card.